Well, it's been another Wednesday, and another episode of The Bad Batch has just released. And this one was very interesting, but also a change of pace from the norm that we've had over the years. Because, as we know before, The Bad Batch cut ties with Sid in the episode before last, on episode 11, they are now truly having to find a new place to set down. Luckily, the missions in regards to collecting treasures have proven a bit fruitful by the fact they've been able to gain a new client. But, luckily they have been able to find work with their newest companion. Her business of collecting and retrieving artifacts, well, liberating them, articles of historic significance, has proven more than a fair bit fruitful. And when the episode starts, they're currently in the middle of an exchange with a gang of what looks like smugglers. And the fact was that they plan to walk over the artifact and leave. And they try two different methods of actually killing the Bad Batch's newest member. Poisoning the wine, which she detects, and then the same creature that they used, that would have been used in an unsexual attempt to assassinate Senator Amidala some several years previously. More specifically, the overall arcing fact of, given the fact we actually know how it delivers its poison, namely the long sting on its neck, namely the fact it's still on its back, and just the fact it goes for the neck, tells me the fact the venom is best injected into an artery, suggesting the fact that if it finds an artery, and also the fact it goes to the neck, suggesting the fact it might be a nerve toxin. But enough about meta-analysis. And of course she's teaching Echo, the Omega, the finer points of negotiation. But I think the other thing is also just the fact that you've got Hunter and Wrecker in the bar as well. Hunter sends the assassination attempt via poisonous insect, or poisonous invertebrate, and flings it against the wall with his knife. And then pretty much he gets rumbled, and then the whole place evolves into a gunfight. But suffice it to say that, of course, well, Tech has to play himself in a game of strategy, as Wrecker doesn't really have the patience. Omega probably would be a good player, but she'd probably be not together that good. And also, Hunter probably has his mind on other things. But then again, I suppose someone's got to do, and trying to get tiny yourself in a small spaceship is a bit difficult. But that's nothing to say of the episode's good. I mean, the gunfight ends, Tech comes to the rescue, and then they discover a small... And terms of the fact that she actually takes him to her home after they cut ties. And then Sid contacts them going like, you cut ties with me, you'll regret it. She's not happy about losing a bouncer, two bouncers, a little barmaid who probably makes her little den feel a little bit more alive, and her accountant. Having to balance your books, how to cut your books yourself is going to be difficult. And she said the fact that they'll regret it, but what really sold the episode for me, I think, was the fact of Pabu. It's a small island oasis in the middle of anywhere. And also at the same time, their new, companion has pretty much told them the fact that Echo could benefit from being around children her own age. Not just three grown men. And she's probably going to be going through a lot of things. And it really does show, she was with a Wookiee, she tried getting a bit of Wookiee culture. She's certainly won the heart of Senator Chuchi. And also, she's pretty much, I think, is being noted on. And Echo, so they travel and land on Pabu, meet the man, and the good thing about this part of the episode was the fact that Omega made a new friend. And also, I think actually was around a child her own age, and there may be other children around her own age on the island as well. We don't really know. But it was really the fact this is a diverse community of refugees from the Clone Wars and what the Empire's doing. And they're doing well. But sooner or later the Empire will show up, so I'm not sure how long this little land of peace will last. But it's nice to see that, and also it turns out for a fact that what she's been doing, she's been collecting small treasures of cultures that are on the, down low, or have been scattered to the four winds, and collect small cultural artifacts so they can keep their culture alive. That is something else. I always figure the fact she just took the treasures and then just sold them on to an antiques collector. Any dealer would, as anyone did who smuggled antiquities. But it turns out her goals are noble, basically, to share in that. I think the other thing is also just the fact that there's a lot to like on the island. The people are friendly and nice. The scenery's dazzling. We see a couple of very nice sights like the sunset and the lights coming on the island at nightfall. But then, of course, something had to go drastically wrong. In this case, it turns out that the island is either volcanic or is in a seismically unstable region because they have a small problem with a tsunami. There's a couple of tremors to signify the fact that quake's building, and then the wave comes, and then finally, as the tsunami hits, Omega and a new friend are out on that boat, and the first warning sign is basically when the island's local Star Wars monkeys begin fleeing to higher ground. They're basically playing around and having fun, but then of course, they run up to higher ground, suggesting most likely the fact that there's a tsunami on its way. And then, of course, they have to get everyone up to safety. But the islanders are well prepared for... Oh, the phone's just going off. Are well prepared for the eventuality of a tsunami. Pretty much basically they all go to higher ground, but because it's been 30 years since the last one, a lot of people don't often do it. So they do things quite wide and varied. They lower a rope ladder, they lower or raise, and of course they can't get everyone up there, so they lower rope ladders to help. And then of course we finally get the dramatic rescue, as the two kids are on the coast, but it's up to Hunter to save the day. And the shuttle and the Marauder gets a rourke out, demonstrating the fact that it actually does have a lowering cable. Which is all in good, and thankfully everyone's made it out, although much of the village or island's town is damaged. It will take some time to rebuild. But the mayor assures them that they are a resilient people, and they will rebuild again. They are refugees. And that is when Hunter decides that this might be a good place to actually sit down. And Tech, and I think maybe Wrecker, agrees to the problem. Agrees to it. It's nice, it's a fairly decent place to live, and it's comfortable. And that's the end of that. This was definitely, I think, another good episode. It feels a bit like filler, but at the same time, we're seeing the fact that people are looking for ways to get away from the Empire and the Clone Wars, but it might be a temporary thing. But also, it's nice to see that the Empire has not spread its reach as far as anything, and it's not the usual doom and gloom. There actually are little safe havens scattered here and there, where people can build a community and build something that is worthwhile living. It's nice to see that, but it's also nice to see, I think, the fact that the Star Wars galaxy is diverse and all these species have been living together for so long and interacting that they can get along together. And finally, it's just a fact of, I think we're getting an Omega-centric episode. Still waiting for Echo and Rex to show up in the last one, but that might be for the finale, but it's been a good one. A very good one. And it's nice to actually the Bad Batch actually doing something, having a disaster that doesn't involve them shooting things. Well, they do in the first part of the episode, but it's nice to see the Bad Batch now have a place they can sit down without not having to split the credits. And of course, the Antiquities trade is probably going to prove quite lucrative. But they're probably going to need to find an alternative source of income. And I think if possible they can have a base of operation that is quite reasonable, and also the fact that they're not having to scrub tables and massage Sid's feet. Well, that's the end of that. I think also, it was a good episode. I think all the best. Well, I've been the Universal Challenger. I ask you to please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and of course share the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheerio!